everybody, it's Allison again, and today we're going to stretch the calves. We're going to do a couple different stretches. We'll start with the downward dog stretch. Your downward dog doesn't have to be perfect. So if you don't know how to do downward dog, this is going to be great because it doesn't have to be perfect like you're in a yoga class. So we'll start on your hands and knees. And for those of you not done downward dog, this is how you get into it. You tuck your toes under, you lift your hips up, and press back. And a lot of people in yoga class like to pedal their heels into the mat just to warm things up. We're going to take that a step further today. I'm going to bring my feet together. I'm going to lift one leg up behind me. It can be down here. The higher up you lift it, the more of a stretch you're going to get. Lift the heel up and slowly lower. Lift and lower. Nice and slow and easy. We want to do this maybe 10, 15, 20 times, something like that, just to get the calf nice and warmed up. You can turn your knee out and your hip up. That will get the medial line. You can turn your knee inward to get the lateral line warmed up. And then we'll switch legs. So, lift your opposite leg up. Lift up on your tippy toe and slowly lower. Lift and lower. Does your back leg need to be straight? Question I sometimes get. No, but if you want to get into the gastrocnemius, the upper part of your calf, it kind of has to be straight. So if you need to, you can shift forward a little bit. Try not to round your back if you can. So again, you can turn that knee out and lift your hip, or you can turn the knee in. And we'll do a few more here, just make sure that calves are nice and warmed up. I'm starting to feel like mine are getting some blood flow. And then we'll take a little posture break. And next we're going to do the full downward dog stretch. If you're one of those people in yoga that you find it frustrating that you can't get your heels down in downward dog, this is a great way to get there. It's helped me a lot. Anyway, we're going to come back into downward dog. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to lift your heels, shift forward, shift back, and slowly lower the heels. Lift, shift forward, shift back, and slowly lower the heels. You can add more to this by lifting your toes up as you lower the heels. That'll give you a little bit more stretch in the back side. Also, if you shift back, lift your toes, press your chest back toward your thighs, and lift your tailbone up, you're going to get even more stretch. It really all depends on how far you want to take this. This is also a chest stretch, by the way. And we'll do a couple more. And then we'll come down. Next, moving on, we are going to do a version of pyramid. So if you have a towel you can roll up or an extra yoga mat, or you could just use the yoga mat that you're on. Pause, go get your towel, set it down, and a yoga block right on top. So we're going to have that yoga block on an angle. If you don't have a yoga block, well, you could just use a hardback book. That'll be fine. I'm going to use the yoga block. And then I'm also going to grab a chair, which is why this chair is over here. And I'm going to set the chair right out front. You may not need a chair. Okay, I had a feeling my head was going to get cut off here, but you'll just have to deal with that. So we're going to put the ball of the foot on the block, and the heel is going to be on the ground. For pyramid, we're stepping back we want the hips to be squared toward the front. So we don't want the foot to be turned out too much, although you can do it that way if you want to catch this medial line. But we want this back foot to be turned forward. It doesn't have to be all the way forward, just enough so you can get the hips squared. What I like to do in class is either hold your wrists or your forearms or your elbows, or you could take your hands behind your back and puff your chest out, or reverse prayer, whatever you prefer. One thing we want to do while we're here is puff the chest out. So we're almost taking this into a little bit of a back bend. Pull the shoulder blades together, get the chest puffed out. I'm pushing with the ball of the foot into the block, and while my chest is puffed out in this back bend, square the hips, lean forward, pushing the ball of the foot into the block, and then come right back up again. So we're just coming into this until you feel a stretch, and then back up. Ideally, we'd like the heel to be on the ground. We'll do a couple more. I really feel like I need this stretch today. Pretty tight. And then we're going to take the hands to the chair. Your chair can be closer to you than this. And now that you've got support with your hands, you don't necessarily need to worry about keeping that back flat. See, when we come into this pyramid stretch and you're like this is unsupported flexion, so your back's in flexion. It's not that great for your back. So just be safe and try to keep your back muscles contracted as you come into this stretch. Once you get to the point where you feel a stretch, your back is actually going to start coming out of that back bend. That's telling you that you've reached your end range of motion, okay? So for this, I'm not really concerned about what you do with your back because we have support now. It's not unsupported flexion anymore. It's supported. So if you need to round your back, that's fine. So I'm here and I'm going to lift the heel in the back and lower. I'm working my back calf, but I'm also getting deeper into that front calf. And you can push again into that block. You don't have to, but because if you don't, it's not really a resistance stretch. But I think at this point we've stretched out this calf enough, it'll be fine. And then we'll switch sides. So with your opposite foot forward, step back. With the back foot, we want to square the hips, remember. I'm pushing into the block with the ball of my left foot. Balancing is a little bit of a challenge. You can do this against a wall. And I'm going to take my hands behind me, puff out my chest, stick my butt out. So I'm making a concave shape with my back. And I want to keep that going as I lean forward until I feel a stretch and come back again. Whew, that's a good stretch. I do this sequence a lot in class because it's just after you're done doing it, you really do feel pretty loose and amazing. It's a great one if you run, or if you cycle, or if you walk, all of the above. This sequence is great for keeping your calves limbered up and happy. And we'll do a couple more. I think I did a little bit more on the other side. Sometimes it can take a little bit of time to get that whole back line warmed up. You're also doing a resistance stretch for your central hamstring here as well. So just keep that in mind. And then we're going to take our hands to the chair. I'm going to lift my back foot, shift forward, and down. You could also take your foot forward a little bit more for this one. I didn't mention this on the other side, but if you want to get into that lateral line of the calf, you can turn your heel out a little bit. and that will help you get into the lateral line. And that's it. How do you feel? I feel amazing. So that's the calf stretch for today. And again, if you cannot do downward dog, I have another video that is all done with the chair. So you can go to that one and do those exercises instead. So happy stretching. Until next time. Bye-bye.